Thank you very much for according us this interview. The heads of states of Kenya, Rwanda and Uganda recently met and passed the single tourist visa, which will enable tourists to access the various countries without having to pay at the various border points. How do you think this will impact on the tourism sector?
We've taken a regional strategy in terms of marketing the region. And what we have done in the last 1 year is to establish a single tourist visa, which is part of the plans that the 5 countries have. But within the treaty, we're allowed to, if 2 or 3 countries can move forward and implement a protocol. And so Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda decided to move forward in terms of implementing the single tourist visa, so that together we can market those 3 countries as one destination. We think this will open up the region and make it again more competitive, because the 3 countries have different products in terms of tourism. But we realize that we share the borders, and so again, we share. There's a lot of commonalities that we could use this position of coming together to market those 3 countries. And we're quite excited. We did launch that product January 2014. So we think it's an advantage. We had to create that advantage for ourselves, and we have done so.
Interestingly, Tanzania was left out of the deal, and they receive most tourists in the region. How is this issue being addressed?
The treaty does allow any 2 or 3 countries to move forward and implement part of the protocol. We believe that Tanzania will come along when they're ready. We decided to implement a bilateral that has been outstanding with Tanzania, allowing our vans to cross the borders to Tanzania and vice versa. We think this is the beginning of them, joining us in terms of, the bigger picture of the East African visa. But this is a big step in terms of what we intend to do as a community by selling the region as one product.
On to matters security. Last year we had the unfortunate Westgate attack. Then we've had 2 separate incidents at JKIA, one which was a fire and the other one which was a suspected terrorist attack. What are you doing about this, and will you be looking for more money in the 2014 budget to aggressively market Kenya?
Obviously, security is really a major concern for all of us, not only for Kenya, for any country state. And in particular, terrorism is really something that, it's an international problem that is everywhere. The government has really, over time, since then, we've invested a lot in security matters. We realize that, tourism being, a major contributor to the GDP, is very sensitive to any security incidences, and so we are addressing the problem from a government perspective. At the ministry, I did appoint a committee made up of stakeholders in the tourism sector to help the ministry come up with a plan where we need to go out there and assure the tourists that Kenya is still safe to travel to.
You find that travel across the region sometimes is a bit cumbersome, because when one wants to travel to one destination, you have to connect via an international airport. What are you doing to improve on this?
Stakeholders within the tourism sector, they've engaged the government over time to address the issue of open skies. We need to attract more visitors. Obviously, we have to have more traffic coming towards Kenya, and I think we're all going in that direction. I think the issue is when and how. Recently, you must have seen His Excellency the President, he did actually launch a greenfield, meaning that we will build a new airport which will have a capacity of 20 million visitors within the next 3 to 4 years. And so for us, we're continuously building this capacity knowing that there will be increased traffic. In fact, we are there about a month ago. I went to London and I spoke to quite a number of airlines. There I met the British Airways, and they intend to increase their traffic coming down. I was in Brussels, and also Brussels Airlines was planning to increase their traffic going down, coming to Africa. So Africa is an exciting destination for everybody. You know, this is where there will be a lot of opportunities in terms of investments, and so we foresee a lot of traffic coming towards Africa.
And what is your outlook for the tourism sector in 2014?
If I can go back so slightly, you know, after the general elections, the sector picked up, and we were quite excited. The figures just before the Westgate Mall attack had really picked up, and the industry was really, you know, happy and quite excited about what was going on in the sector. So, to be honest with you, the figures have dropped since then, the Westgate Mall, and that's why we are responding to you know, in terms of going forward to assure the visitors to Kenya that Kenya is still the best destination in terms of safari to visit. Yeah, Kenya has the best beaches and so forth, and really Kenya is safe to visit. So with that information, then then we still have to, you know, do some work for the numbers to start picking up again. And I believe tourism sector is resilient. It will pick up.